Ho, 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 my friends, scoot in close, 'cause even you with the extra blanket wrapped like a burrito. Perfect. Now take a nice slow sip of lemonade, 'cause you're hanging with Summer Santa. And let your shoulders relax, because tonight Santa's got a story for you that's packed with teamwork, giggles, a few silly surprises, and one very important reminder. Even magic needs maintenance. This is a tale of the Great Sleigh Tune-Up Adventure. Yes, now you might think Santa's sleigh is always ready, shiny runners, perfect steering, sparkly bells that jingle at exactly the right level of festive and not too loud while you're trying to nap. Now, let me tell you something honest and jolly. After a long season of flying across the world, over rooftops, around the weather, through clouds that look like mashed potatoes, Santa's sleigh needs a tune up, just like any car, bike, or scooter. And this year, ho ho ho, this year the sleigh decided to be a little dramatic. It started in the crisp morning in the North Pole when I stepped into the Sleigh Garage, a big cozy workshop next to the Reindeer barn. The smell of peppermint oil and pine polish was in the air. Tools were lined up neatly. The elves had even hung a sign that read, "Welcome, Sleigh, please behave." I patted the sleigh lovingly. "All right, old friend," I said, "let's get you tuned up." Right on cue, the sleigh's front bell gave a little tiny jingle jingle, like it was clearing its throat. Then the sleigh steering handle, yes, it has one, don't ask too many questions, wobbled just a bit. And from somewhere underneath, I heard a small squeak. I blinked. "Was that you?" The sleigh did not answer. Sleighs are polite, but not chatty. That's when my head mechanic, Wrenchley, marched in. Wrenchley wore goggles on his forehead, a tool belt full of everything from tiny screwdrivers to a measuring tape that could possibly measure the moon, and a serious expression that said, "Safety first, snacks second." Behind him came two helpers, zippy, fast, enthusiastic, and occasionally bumps into the walls. And Tinsel Tina, organized, creative, and believes glitter is a legitimate repair material. Wrenchley saluted. "Santa, sleigh inspection begins now." Zippy popped up beside him. "I brought a wrench." Wrenchley squatted. "That's a candy cane." Zippy looked down. "Oh, still useful," Tinsel Tina nodded. "For morale," Wrenchley sighed. "Sure," I chuckled. "All right, team, let's do this right. What's first?" Wrenchley pulled out a clipboard, because of course he did, and read aloud. "Step 1, check runners. Step 2, check bells. Step 3, check magic stabilizers. Step 4, do not let Zippy test flight indoors." Zippy raised his hand. "It was only once." Wrenchley said, "You crashed into a stack of wrapping paper and created a blizzard." Zippy smiled proudly. It was very realistic. We started with the runners, the long, smooth parts under the sleigh that kept it gliding smoothly. Wrenchley ran his hands along the metal and frowned. "Tiny scratch here." Tinsel Tina leaned in. "Should we name it?" Wrenchley blinked. "No." Tinsel Tina shrugged. "I was thinking Sir Scratchington." I said, "Let's just polish it." So we polished, and we polished. The runners gleamed like moonlight on the snow. Then came the bells. Now, the bells aren't just decorations, they help balance the sleigh's magic. When they jingle, The sleigh stays steady like music keeps a dance on beat. Wrenchley tapped each bell carefully. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Then, clunk. One bell didn't jingle, it clunked like it was sulking. Zippy gasped, "That bell is in a bad mood." Tinseltina whispered, "Maybe it needs a compliment." Wrenchley lifted the bell and peered inside. "There's frosting in here." I blinked. "Frosting?" Zippy cleared his throat. "In my defense, Santa, the bell looked hungry." Wrenchley stared at Zippy so hard I thought his goggles might steam up. Zippy offered the candy cane, peace offering. Wrenchley took a deep breath. "Clean the bell." Zippy scrubbed carefully, humming a tune that sounded like jingle bells. Got mixed up with the wheels on the bus. Somehow it still worked. Soon the bell jingled again, happy and bright. "Good," Wrenchley said. "Now for the magic stabilizers." The magic stabilizers are small enchanted plates under the sleigh that help it stay smooth in bumpy air. They're the reason I don't spill cocoa on my lap when I'm flying through windy weather, mostly. Wrenchley slid under the sleigh with a flashlight. A moment later, he called out, "Uh-oh, Santa." Yes, Wrenchley. "I'm seeing something I don't love." Tinseltina leaned down. "Is it a spider?" Wrenchley replied, "Worse." Zippy whispered, "Two spiders?" Wrenchley scooted out and held up a tiny piece of metal that looked like a loose bracket. "The left stabilizer bracket is cracked," he said. My eyebrows rose. "Cracked?" Wrenchley nodded. "Not terrible, but it needs replacing." Zippy perked up. "I can glue it." Wrenchley's eyes widened. "No glue." Tinseltina raised a finger. "What about glitter glue?" Wrenchley said, "Especially no glitter glue." I held up my hands, smiling. "All right, we'll fix it properly. What do we need?" Wrenchley checked his clipboard. "We need a replacement bracket from the parts closet." Zippy ran towards the closet so fast he turned into a blur. We heard banging, a small oops, and then a loud "Found it!" Zippy returned holding a rubber chicken. Tinseltina said, "That's not a bracket." Zippy looked confused. It was labeled emergency. Wrenchley picked the bridge of his nose. "Put the chicken back." Zippy sighed and went again, this time returning with the correct bracket and also the rubber chicken, which he insisted needed fresh air. While Wrenchley prepared the replacement, I sat on the stool and watched the sleigh quietly. Something about it felt, well, off. Not broken, just unsettled. I leaned closer and whispered, "How are you doing, old friend?" The sleigh's front bell gave a soft jingle that sounded like, "I'm trying." That's when the garage door opened and Rudolph trotted in with Holly and Pip, two other reindeer who always seem to be where the action is. Rudolph sniffed the air. "Smells like repairs." Holly nodded. "And frosting." Zippy waved. "Hi, it was for the bell." Pip looked at the sleigh with concern. "Is everything okay?" Wrenchley looked up from his tools. "We're replacing a stabilizer bracket. But Santa's sleigh also has something else going on." I raised my eyebrows. "What do you mean?" Wrenchley tapped his clipboard. "The sleigh is slightly out of rhythm." Tinseltina gasped. "Out of rhythm?" Zippy started swaying. "I can teach it a dance." Wrenchley said, "Not that rhythm." He nodded towards the bells. When the sleigh's magic is balanced, the bells jingle in a steady pattern. But I noticed something. The pattern is irregular. Rudolph stepped closer and listened. Jingle, jingle, pause. Jingle, jingle, pause. Clunk, jingle. Rudolph blinked. That sounded like someone trying to clap on beat, but getting distracted by snacks. Zippy said, "That's me." Wrenchley said, "Yes, Zippy, that is you." I stroked my beard thoughtfully, so what's causing it? Tinseltina pointed at the claws. At the sleigh. Maybe it's tired. Pip tilted his head. Maybe it misses flying. Holly added, or maybe it needs reassurance. Wrenchley hesitated. I don't usually say this as a mechanic, but the sleigh might need a little heart tune-up, too. Now, that got the whole garage quiet. Because here's something you should know, my friends. The sleigh isn't powered only by magic dust and starlight. It's powered by joy, by hope, by kindness, by the spirit of giving. If the people around it are stressed or rushing or forgetting why we do what we do, the sleigh can feel it. I looked at my team of elves, then at the reindeer. Have we been, rushing? I asked quietly, gently. Zippy's ears drooped. Well, a little. Tinseltina nodded. We've been working hard. Wrenchley admitted, I've been more clipboard than Coco lately. Rudolph snorted. That's not healthy for anyone. Holly nudged Rudolph. Be nice. Rudolph softened. Sorry, but it's true. I stood up. All right, we're fixing the bracket, but we're also going to fix something else. Zippy perked up. Snack break? Yes, I said, but more than that, we're going to remind the sleigh and ourselves why we do this. Tinseltina clapped. A joy recalibration. Wrenchley blinked. That actually sounds accurate. So we did something a little unusual for a tune-up. We gathered around the sleigh like it was a campfire. We asked each elf and each reindeer to share one thing that they loved about Storytime, giving or making people smile. Zippy went first. I love when kids laugh at the silly voices. Tinseltina smiled. I love when families feel cozy together, even if they're far apart. Wrenchley cleared his throat. I love when something works because we took care of it, like when kindness becomes a habit. Rudolph said, I love when people remember they're not alone. Pip whispered, I love when somebody smiles even on a hard day. Holly added, I love when we work as a team and nobody feels left behind. I turned to the sleigh and I love that you help us bring joy all over the world. The bells jingled softly, more evenly now, like the sleigh was listening. Wrenchley replaced the bracket with careful precision. He tightened the bolts, tested the stabilizer, then slid out from underneath the sleigh with a satisfied nod. Mechanical repair complete, he announced. Zippy cheered, hooray, now we can fly. Wrenchley pointed at his clipboard. Step 4 still applies. Zippy sighed dramatically. Fine. But Rudolph stepped forward. Santa, we should do a quick outside test. Just a gentle glide. Wrenchley looked tempted, very tempted. I smiled. A safe test, outdoors, with all the protocols. Wrenchley saluted. Approved. So we rolled the sleigh out onto the snowy runway behind the garage. The sky was bright and blue, and the snow sparkled like it was full of tiny stars. I climbed into the sleigh. Zippy tried to climb in too. Wrenchley held up a hand. No. Zippy asked, what if I sit very still? Wrenchley replied, you don't know how. Tinseltina snorted. Rudolph and the other reindeer lined up, harnesses on, looking proud. Easy, I said, just a short lift. Rudolph nodded. Got it. I gave a gentle Hi-ya! The sleigh lifted smoothly like a feather floating. No wobble, no clucks. The bell jingled in steady rhythm. Jingle, 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 jingle. Zippy shouted from below. It sounds happy. Tinsel Tina waved sleigh glow. Wrenchley actually smiled, just a little, like somebody who finally found the missing crew and the missing screw. We glided in a small circle above the runway and landed softly. Perfect. I hopped out and patted, confident, with a confident jingle. Well done, old friend. The bells gave a proud, confident jingle. And then, because life likes to add a little humor, Zippy sprinted forward, slipped on a patch of snow, and slid right under the sleigh like a penguin on vacation. He popped out the other side, grinning. See, I can test flights even without flying. Wrenchley stared. Zippy added, technically, I tested the snow. Wrenchley sighed and then laughed. All right, that was funny. Tinsel Tina gasped. Wrenchley laughed. Mark that on the calendar. Rudolph said we should celebrate. I nodded, we will, with cocoa and muffins. Zippy raised the rubber chicken like a trophy and an emergency chicken. No, said everyone at once. Zippy lowered it. Okay. That evening the workshop felt lighter, not because we worked less, but because we remembered to work with joy. And the sleigh, it was ready, not just fixed, refreshed. Because sometimes the best tune-up isn't only a wrench and a bolt. Sometimes it's a reminder, a laugh, a shared moment, and a little kindness sprinkled on top. Here's the moral of the story. Taking care of something important means paying attention to both the parts and the heart behind it. The sleigh worked best when everyone did their jobs responsibly and asked for help and remembered why we were working in the first place. When we slow down enough to be kind, laugh together, and support each other, we become braver, stronger, and more joyful. And that's the kind of care that keeps everything in our lives running smoothly. Isn't that awesome, boys and girls? Teamwork. What a great idea.